Hi guys, it's Lady Maylene. Since I decided to make a school uniform version of Rini for Anime Expo, I decided to just show how I make the bows because I really like how the bows come out. So just in case anybody wants to do it for school uniform or maybe something Sailor Moon related. So her bow is red, so I got some red fabric. You really don't need that much unless you're making a bunch of bows. So this is half a yard, and then I have some interfacing. You do not have to use interfacing, but this makes it stiff. So if you don't use it, it might be kind of like floppy, but I still think it looks cute. Scissors, and then like measure it with something. And you will need, if you don't have a sewing machine, I think sewing machines are kind of better. I've actually done this with glue, and it came out pretty good. I actually used fabric glue, and I've also used a hot glue gun, and I still think they came out pretty nice, but I think they'll come out neater if you use a sewing machine. So I really hope this helps somebody, and thank you so much for watching, guys. Please don't forget to leave me a comment of something you want me to do a tutorial of, and give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. That would mean a lot. Alright, so let's start with the sizing. The size can be absolutely whatever you want, but I know it's so much helpful when you actually have measurements. What I would say is measure how long you want it. For example, if you want it to be I have this old bowl that got super squished, but I actually like the like how big it is. So for example, if you want this bowl like this size, you would just measure from here to here, and just pretend I already cut it. Let me just fold it, and we can pretend this is cut and I cut it this side. So when you're gonna make the bow, you're just gonna like hold it to the middle and just pretend that's not there. And that's how like long your bow is gonna be. So it seems like this might be a pretty good size, and I'm gonna cut it and then I'll tell you the measurements. Okay, so this is how we're gonna cut it. There's a couple of different ways you can do it, but it seems like this might be the best way, at least I think. Here's a really old bowl I made. It was actually really nice when I made it, and now it's completely squished. It got squished on a bunch of things, so I'm gonna do the same way I did it this bow. You can make it any size you want. So for example, this bow, I thought it was a good size. So if we go from like here to here, and whatever size you want, double it. Like if it's this bow, how I like it, and it stops here, I would put it all the way over here and cut it like in the end, like on this side. So it has to be double the size. I will let you know what size I made this one. I think it's a good size for like Sailor Scouts one. So let me cut it and then I'll tell you the size. Alright, so here it is, and the size for this bow ended up being 26 inches going this way, and from how tall it is, it's about 9.5 inches, or maybe 10. I don't know. You could go if you wanted to make it a little bit bigger, just add like a couple of inches on each side, or if you wanted to make it a bit smaller, just take away a couple of inches. So the bow is gonna end up being the size of when you fold it in half, like around this size, which I thought it was a pretty good size for the one I want to make. And here comes the interfacing. This is one that you have to iron on. I actually really like this one. There are better ones, but this is the one I bought, and I got it at Michael's with a coupon, so it ended up being really cheap. So it's a giant roll, and we have to cut out so that it will match the fabric, however long it is. So here's my interfacing, and just make the interfacing a little bit smaller than the fabric. Yeah, time to cut. Alright, so this is gonna be the first part. I'll teach you how to do the bottom part in a bit, but so here I cut the interfacing, and it has to be a little tiny bit smaller than the fabric. So when you iron this on, or whatever you're gonna do, you just bend it a little bit, a tiny bit like that, so the edges will look really nice. You can either sew them, which is probably what I'm gonna do, or like my other weird bow, I actually glued it, and it actually came out pretty good. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with this. Alright, so for the bottom part, it'd be good if you had more fabric, but I only had this little fabric, so this is what I'm gonna use. So it's this piece of fabric, and you got to fold it. So I'm folding it. It's pretty much the exact same size as the bow. I would recommend if it was a little bit longer, it'd be even nicer, but since this is what I have, this is what I'm gonna use. Alright, make sure that the folded part, this is the folded part, this is the part that opens, is facing this way because I mess up a lot. Like just make sure this is when you're gonna cut it, it's in the where you're cutting. So I'm gonna cut it now. I'll give you the measurements and everything because I'm just gonna make it up. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna cut it. I'm just gonna do it and hopefully it'll come out nice. Cutting it straight now because it's kind of crooked. So yeah, make sure it's not crooked. And then when you open it, it kind of looks like a weird shape. Here, I'm going to try to make it a little bit pointier like this side. Woo! Alright guys, so I just discovered that I'm really bad at making the bottom part. So if you guys could find a pattern or something, that would be amazing. It's kind of crooked, but I mean it still looks nice when you sew it. So tall, it is about 30 inches tall, and then the long side, like the longest side, is about 13, and then over here where it's a little bit shorter, just keeps getting a little bit shorter. It's like 10 and a half, and up here it's like 9. But anyways, it's supposed to be like this. So yeah, so this way it's about 6.5, I guess, and then the top part it's about 13, and then the bottom part, which is a little bit shorter, is about almost 10. But I really hope you guys like get a better pattern or something, but it still looks nice when you sew it all together and you put it, it's just like the bottom looks like that. I still think it looks pretty nice, and yeah, so let's keep going. So for this part, I also am gonna cut interfacing, but I'm only gonna do it on one side because you're still gonna sew them together. So it's just try to cut similar to one of the parts. Alright, so it looks pretty good, and yeah, I'm sorry again that it's kind of a fail, but it will look nice in the end, so it's okay. Now I'm gonna go and iron them on, and when you iron them on, this part comes off, so yeah, I'll be back in a little bit. I am back, you guys, and I really wish I could show you how I sew it, but it's really hard and I don't know where to put the camera so you would be able to see. But I put the interfacing on and it's kind of shiny. It's like a little plastic kind of thing, so it makes it stiff. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to bend all the little corners a little tiny bit and sew them so you won't be able to see like the edges, and it's a little bit uneven, but that's okay. It still ends up really nice. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay guys, so in my last clip, I don't remember if I said to sew these sides, because I think I said it, I don't remember, but you do not have to sew these sides. You have to sew the bottom so it looks a lot neater. But you don't have to sew these parts because you're gonna sew them together. So make sure it's inside out and you sew both of these together, or if you're using glue, just put the glue underneath and then on top, and after that you're going to like flip it upside down. Yay! And for this one, it's a little bit different because what you have to do is, sorry if this is not in shot, I can't see what I'm doing, but since it's like this, you have to fold it this way, so the wrong way, and sew it. Like, I would recommend sewing it here, here, and halfway, and just leave a little hole right here, so you can flip it inside out, and then it'll be the right way, and then just sew that part, and I will be right back after I sew it. Alright guys, so I'm just gonna say this, that I am no expert. Just in case this doesn't come out very well, I'm really letting you guys know I'm not an expert in any kind of way. I'm just trying to help see if maybe this will help somebody. But anyways, okay, so I sewed the middle part. Now that the middle part is sewn, I am going to flip it. So flip, 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 flip. Alright, so something I used to do that I learned now is I used to always do this and then just sewed it through the middle, but it's better if you put this line in the middle of all of this, so you won't be able to see it because you're gonna like crunch this. So that's just a little tip. And finished this one. I sewed it from here, here, and then on this side here to here, so it has this little hole, and this is interfacing on this side, so I'm gonna turn it inside out. This might take a while sometimes, so give me a second. Now we have it inside out, yay! And it actually doesn't look half bad. Now I'm gonna sew this part that it was a little hole, but then you see when you when you do this, it doesn't look that bad. Alright, so now comes the part where you actually make the bow. Don't forget to leave a little bit so you can put this in the middle of the bow, but okay, this is alright guys, so I think this is the most difficult part, at least in my opinion, but we're gonna make the bow part. Okay, let me try to get the middle, where the middle is. Alright, so this is about the middle, and what you want to do, this is, I don't know, I think I always found this part really hard, is start like crunching it, but this part, try to keep it inside, because if you don't, it kind of looks kind of weird. Here, let me try to show you. So this part inside, 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 and the top part as well. So keep this, instead of going forward, inside out. This is kind of hard. You just kind of have to do it, and it slowly comes out. So this is kind of what it's looking like here. Like this part is coming out a little bit outside, so that's why it looks like this. So if you do it on the inside, it goes more inward. Oh man, there's a big old shadow. I'm sorry about that, but yeah. Alright, like I was saying, so I can hold the middle part. I usually just use a needle and I put it through the whole thing and then like wrap it around. Or you can also use just a random string or a ribbon or something so that it'll stay, the shape will stay. So let me try to put this together again. So here we are. You kind of do it like an accordion. So just make sure you like it. I usually just do it like a couple of times to make sure I like it. Like I think this side looks a little bit better on this than this side, so I'm gonna try to fix that. But I think it looks pretty nice, so I'm going to put the needle through here, and like I said, if you don't have that, just use a ribbon or anything else. Yay, so it's almost done. So make sure both sides are even. I see one side looks a little bit bigger, or I mean they can actually look pretty even. So now putting this part, I actually didn't end up sewing this part because you're not going to be able to see it anyway, but just fold it in half so you know where the middle part is, and kind of, I guess you kind of do the same thing, like accordion style kind of thing. And it looks kind of like a mini bow. But anyways, you're gonna put this right underneath this, and I'm gonna do the same thing I did with this. So if you want to tie like a ribbon or something on here so it won't move. Okay, now that I've sewn this part together as well, you just kind of squish them in together so it'll make a big old bow. I'm gonna use the same string just to tie this part. Alright, so I'm gonna put the middle part. In the middle part, I usually just grab like a big piece and I fold it into many pieces because I just want it to be thick. So this is like folding it 3 times, and then I put it right through the middle. So for example, here is kind of the middle. So in the back you can sew it or glue it, I don't know, whatever you want, and it's pretty much how it's done. I hope this actually helps someone. I know this isn't like the most perfect amazing bow, but I tried. And thanks so much for watching, guys. I really hope this helped at least one person, and please don't forget to leave me a comment, a like, and if you like this video, please subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. So bye guys, I'll see you in my next video.